Thank you. Hopefully you guys are okay. We're going to record the session for those that can't make it today. But look, thank you so much for carving out time in your afternoon for our Maxme showcase. And it's really an opportunity for us to share with you the ethos behind what we do, and some of the, I guess, the stories that are emerging from the clients that we're working with. But yeah, thanks for joining us. And we are Maxme. We obsess actually around maximizing human potential globally. Thanks, Cara. Today we're going to cover a few things, and we're sort of going to take a bit of a canter through, who are we? Why choose Maxme? Why is Maxme important to your business? And talk you through a bit of our perspective on the human skill gap and how it's impacting workplaces globally. And certainly just take you through what we put out into market, what we're using with clients, and sort of how it all kind of hangs together, I guess. And then we'll take some questions. We love nothing more than questions from those that have joined and are curious. So we've left plenty of time for questions. And please feel free to ask them. You can ask as we go along, but just to make sure we get through what we wanted to cover, if you would put your questions in the chat, I think that would work quite well if we were to cover them at the end. But as I said, if you've got a burning question, please put your hand up and Cara will monitor that as well as the chat. Thanks, Cara. So Maxme has a very strong ethos, and that ethos has been built from a lot of experience. So just really quickly, a bit about me. I started Maxme in 2019 after 30 years in global corporate roles. I started my career at Accenture and then found myself working in organisations like British Airways, Telstra, National Australia Bank, EDS, and Latitude Financial Services. And I guess the way that I would describe myself throughout all of my career is, taking on this persona of becoming a servant leadership, or really being very, I guess, concerned around my leadership role being, to help others to be at their highest potential and I guess ultimately become their own leaders, and really great leaders for others. And one of the things that I observed in pretty much all the roles that I worked in is that there is a deficit. There's a deficit of these human skills or soft skills, or, they're called so many things these days, power skills and meta skills and, employability skills, but it all means the same thing. And that is that, whilst technical skills, which is what we really over-index on through education pathways, they're really important. And, let's, couch those as employee IQ. What is a truism, and that I'm yet to find a person that says otherwise, is that unless you've got these human skills or these human capabilities to bring that IQ and amplify that IQ and move it to impact and outcome, it kind of doesn't matter how good you are and how technically proficient you are. And I've sort of felt that firsthand. I carved out my career mainly in technology, and as much as I worked with some brilliant technologists, and I've worked across the gamut of the system development life cycle, a lot of the technologists I worked with had difficulty communicating, working with people that were different to them, simplifying a message, having difficult conversations, and even being creative problem solvers and really thinking about things from all perspectives. Unless, they found a way to get those skills, their full impact was never really felt. And so I started Maxme on the back of the promise of what would it look like to bring this sort of skilling and democratize it to organizations. Thanks, Cara. There is a human skill gap, and what we wanted to bring you was some data. We like to lead with data. Most people need data to sort of convince themselves, but global research tells us that first and foremost, 90% of top performers have high EQ. So EQ is the kind of, I guess, catch-all for some of these skills that we've been talking about. But, EQ is really around self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and social skills. So 90% of the people that we admire and aspire to be have high EQ. Now, what's coming out, though, in all the research that we're reading, and I think you'll all agree with me, it kind of feels like every second article is around the skills that people are going to need in the age of AI, and being these human skills. So certainly McKinsey has published research to say that 43 out of the 56 global skills that are going to be required for citizens are human skills. Deloitte Access Economics came out and said that, by 2030, 2/3 of all roles will require highly developed human skills. We know that people with higher EQ, because they're probably more successful, get paid a bit more. And we also know that employers, I should say, know that they need a mix in their people. And I think we're seeing more emphatic recruitment looking for these things than ever before. So we know that they're needed, but equally the research is saying that people on average are pretty average with these skills. And so it leaves a gap, but also an opportunity for us as a community to close that gap. Thanks, Cara. And look, I've got experts on this call. This is not going to be new news to anyone, but, our experience of it is that education pathways definitely don't skill to these human skills, but even at work, and I've got first-hand experience myself of this, so I too put my hand up and say this is probably how it played out in the teams that I ran. Is most of the budget that we get for development, or the kind of deep development that's required to get these skills and get them well, is really kind of normally housed with, you're either a leader and you're getting developed, or you're on a talent program and you're getting developed that way. 90% of people in our workplaces today they don't get that level of development. It's maybe a LinkedIn Learning license, maybe a Coursera license, maybe there's an internal LMS that you can go and find some modules on, maybe it's the occasional workshop, but there isn't that sort of really, deep learning that's required to become proficient in this way. And we see this as being the biggest opportunity for us in terms of when we talk about democratization, we talk about making this sort of development available to that 90%, the bulk of the workforce that are just sitting there and waiting. And look, we do know that about 35% of people that leave organizations are saying that they're leaving because they're not getting that development, that sort of career deepening, that career progression. And so we know that it is a problem that's out there. It's not going to go away quickly, and it's probably going to become worse as we move very rapidly into the age where these skills are going to be required. So, we're pretty dogged about the role that we can play in terms of addressing this issue. Thanks, Cara. Look, there's nothing more, I guess, powerful than a bit of a story around how this plays out, or how we've sort of seen this play out, particularly in the research that we're doing and the clients that we're working with. So, look, I want you to meet Rahul here. And Rahul, this is look at his happy face. He's just been through an interview process. He did really, really well at university. He passed with flying colours. He had that magical wham that so many of us look for when we're recruiting graduates. And he, he got through a very, very tight process, very competitive process. And, winners are grinners, as they say. Rahul's got his job. He did fairly well in the interview process. It was nerve-wracking, but he did well. And he's feeling really fantastic about the workplace and what's ahead of him. Thanks, Cara. Unfortunately, though, the research will tell us that within the first 2 to 5 years of career, and it's sooner for some, our young people, our individual contributors, and those that are sort of emerging and aspiring to become leaders, they sort of start feeling like Leela here. And look, Leela, her face says it all. She's bewildered, really, around the fact that she spent a lot of time at uni. She's kind of felt really well trained and ready for that. But unfortunately, when she arrived, she found out that the skills that she needed weren't really the skills that she had, and that, she needed to start acquiring them, but perhaps the pathways for her weren't there to really help her to get those skills and get them well so that she could be, fully impactful. And we start to see this face a lot with emerging leaders, where they're starting to transition from, being those individual contributors to starting to take more responsibility at work and needing to work more deeply with other people, and feeling globally in workplaces around this sort of difficulty working with people different to us, difficulty having difficult conversations, giving feedback, receiving feedback. communicating well, and just that sort of, who am I, my strengths, my derailers, how do I manage them much better? And it really is leading. And again, I know I'm preaching to the converted. There'll be most people on this call which will hopefully agree with me, but it's really, it is actually quite confronting, and I think this is happening earlier to people in the workplace in today's, I guess, more complex work environment, and so yeah, we feel we feel the reality of that, and we're also excited by the opportunity to sort of change this story. Thanks, Cara. And really, just on average, the research will say that it's costing workplaces about $1.1 million to replace regrettable attrition every year. And as I said to you, a very high percentage of people leave saying, I'm going to seek out the development somewhere else. And we know that even for those that stay, the impact on productivity, disengagement, disconnection is costing workplaces about $42 billion USD every year, and just lost opportunities and lost productivity. So yeah, the problem is there. I think I've made my point very clear. So Maxme is very much around what can we do? What's the opportunity? And our vision definitely is to be the global leaders in helping people either at the start of their career or moving through their career or looking for that advancement to get these critical human skills. Get them fast but sustainably, so that they can realize their full potential and thrive in work and life, because we'll all know on this call that these human skills are not just, when I arrive at work, I just, switch on my communication skills, and when I go home, I switch them off. They're actually life skills as well. And so we're really excited about not only cultural change within organizations, the very same organizations that I kind of had that amazing career that I had, change the culture in those organizations, but also outside of those, within relationships between people as well. Thanks, Cara. So again, we do a lot of research, a lot of market research that are being expected around the globe, and it doesn't really change by vertical either. We've really looked far and wide across financial services, FMCG, pharmaceuticals, health sciences. Like, we've sort of really done quite a bit of research and spoken to a lot of leaders. And these are the skills that come up time after time in terms of what they're expecting from their staff. They want them to be effective communicators, particularly when they're interacting with customers and also with peers. And, we know that's the golden triangle, right? Me, my peers, and our customers, because, if you can get that triangle working well, then generally the bottom line is it's looking pretty good. They are definitely looking for creative problem solvers in complex environments. And we know that innovation is really key to not only businesses surviving, but also thriving, staying ahead of the game, share of customer wallet, et cetera, et cetera. So those innovation skills, the ability to creatively problem solve, definitely my mindset, the way that I sort of show up, how do I act in stressful situations or when things are unpredictable, how do I recover from setbacks? Definitely, we know that it's that self-leadership as well, but also when I'm leading others, that I become an inspirational leader, that I take on the ethos of, kind of being there for the people that I lead and helping them to get great results. Also, they're looking for those healthy working relationships. Diversity, equity, inclusion is not just a policy. How do we bring that concept to life within our organizations? And also, that collaboration, that effectively understanding each other, working well with each other, being able to brainstorm and, innovate and ideate together, because it's kind of much easier to do it on my own when it's just me, myself, and I debating with me, myself, and I. But what does it look like to kind of open that up to others? Certainly, that sort of digital acumen as well. And I'm not talking about technical skills and AI skills, and they're getting banded around a lot, but it's how do I learn to interact with technology to get the most out of technology? And then when something appears, let's call it a chat GPT thing that comes out of a question that I ask, that I don't just jump straight to, okay, well, now I have the answer, that I can apply insight and analysis and a kind of a deepening, how do I ask others? So there's that suite of skills that sit around becoming more and more technically advanced within our workplaces. So we have our human skills for organisation programs. We're very much, we understand how organisations work. We have 200 plus corporate experience amongst the Maxme team and our collaborators. So we very much bring the research, the science, but also the lived experience to our products and our programs. They are fully curated as well. So, one of the things that I get asked a lot is, Ren, how do you compare to sort of other, you can find human skill development everywhere, on YouTube, on Coursera, on Udemy, how do you compare? And one of the things that we get told by users, and there's a reason why there's about an 8 to 13% completion rate on some of those learning platforms, is because not only is it sort of probably, you need that kind of stickiness or gamification, but also that it's really difficult to know the sequence to learning. Because if I don't know, how am I going to know how to learn and in what sequence to learn to get to that competence and confidence quickly? So we've done some of the thinking, for the participant. They can still choose their journey within the platform, certainly when they're on the app and using the app. But we've pre-curated the sequence so that they know that I need to do level 1 before level 2, before level 3. And by the time I get to level 5, I'll have a much higher level of proficiency than I had when I started. Look, all of it is made for the short attention span learner, all of those things that we know to be true. So, it's a 15-minute a day moments that we engage the participant in. And it's not just learning and assessment, which is the experience on most learning platforms today. We take it deeper to activity and reflection. We know from the 70-20-10 learning framework that 70% of our learning is done in doing. So it's not enough to just learn something and then sort of try and find an opportunity to apply it. We sort of want participants to apply it in the moment, which is why our programs have that immediate application in them. But then, of course, the participant becomes more confident to then go and try it day to day in their everyday life. Thanks, Cara. You might be wondering, so what do we focus on? Where do we kind of position ourselves? These are kind of our 6 core tenets of the learning on our platform, and certainly in our programs. We always start with self-awareness. When we did some research and asked particularly employers, some executives in work, what do they look for? What's the kind of, they had to choose one of these 6 in terms of the importance of it to them and how they think it impacts on people's ability to be impactful at work. And twice more than any other, self-awareness was chosen. And I guess that, the feedback back to us was, if you don't have self-awareness, if you don't know what your strengths are, what your derailers are, and you're managing yourself through that and how you're showing up, then kind of the rest doesn't matter. You sort of derailed in all of the rest anyway. And so we always start with self-awareness. All of our programs feature aspects of that. When we work with our clients, depending on how much they want us to deep dive on that, will be how much we deep dive on it. But we start with, at the very least, getting each participant to become really familiar with their character strengths and their lesser strengths or derailers. We also, of course, focus on, one of the most important tenets of effectively working with others, and that's communication. We communicate from the minute we're born to the minute we die. And there is a general, pretty low ability to communicate in the workplace today. And unfortunately, there's a few headwinds for us. Firstly, the hybrid work environment means that we've had to learn to communicate over different mediums, and also, I guess, short form communication and some of the things we see playing out with social media. It's meant that, our willingness to communicate or our ability to communicate those opportunities have become fewer. And so our ability to practice and just understand the basics. And it just goes back to, we've never really been taught the basics of communication, and they are definitely acquired skills. So we really do encourage our clients to take some aspects of that. Definitely creative problem solving, agile ways of working, failing fast, innovation, all of those skills that we need our people to have we have that in abundance on the learning platform, because they really are, they form a huge and critical part of readiness and agility for our staff in the world of work going forward. Certainly working together, collaboration, being able to, work with people that are diverse, know how to form high-performing teams, how to work in high-performing teams, and sort of get that great outcome, because we do know that when people can unlock that, then we get that equation, that famous Stephen Covey equation of 1 + 1 = 3. That synergy that happens when you harness that potential of the group is really powerful. I felt it myself personally, and so we get our programs and certainly the learning on the platform, we help people to get there. Mindfulness is important. We talked about this resilience, how to be more mindful, how to be an active participant in our life, but also be really, kind of clear on how we're showing up, etc., and how to manage that stress, recover from setbacks, etc., etc. It's such a critical skill that, I get asked all the time, how can you teach that, Ren? Well, you absolutely can teach that, and certainly with teaching and then a bit of practice, people become, more fulfilled, I guess. And then finally, owning it, which is a topic very dear to my heart, as being I'm a PMI certified project manager. I've done a lot of business transformation in my life. And, this concept of setting goals, being able to prioritize, being able to, come back when things don't, when the plan's not going well, how do you do that? And all of the facets of that sort of project management competency is there in spades in that focus area on our platform. So I just sort of wanted to share some of those really core focus areas. We deepen as much as our clients want us to. All of this, as I said to you, exists in our app, and we then double down on it depending on what the client wants from us as we run our programs with them. We also have an area on the platform called mini quests. These are easily curatable things, and a lot of our clients want us to put modules together for their staff that are maybe aligned to their values or nuances within their workplace that obviously don't exist on our platform, being a generally available platform. So we co-create modules with our clients. Some of our clients have co-created 4 modules with us. So, we've run a 10-week program. 4 of those weeks are sort of, co-created with our clients, and we facilitate for them. So we house those in our mini quest area, but we, of course, have got generally available mini quests as well. And things that really help people, again, they're more life hack type of things, like how do I work on my personal brand, or how do I, succeed in large organizations? So they're very much around, guiding the user around those moments that sometimes significantly impact and derail, and help them be effective in those moments. In terms of our learning experience, we have a hybrid learning experience. So it's really important for us that we bring a very, an exciting, fun experience. We know that adults don't engage in fun enough, and hence why, our learning is often stifled, because we see it as a burden, as a kind of compliance thing, rather than kind of explore who I am and engage in fun play. So we bring that into our experience. We also bring, as I said to you, that bite size, that sort of rapid learning, a little moment every day. But then if you don't want to do that, you can sort of bundle it and do it at the end of the week. It's very much participant focused and what works for them. I should say that we've got a 4.5-star rating in the App Store and Google Play. We've got, tens of thousands of people on the platform engaging with us. But at the center, as you can see, is the jewel in our crown, Hodie. It's our app. We describe it as the Duolingo of human skill development, of soft skill development. We do, our experience gets compared to Duolingo quite often, which we're pretty excited about, given we're 4 years into it, and Duolingo is an $8.8 billion market cap company, and it's been going for 15 years. So we'll take that comparison, but it does speak to what we're trying to achieve in terms of our experience. We, of course, then wrap around in that hybrid learning further gamification. So we have, a very white labeled feel for the clients that we work with. So it very much feels like their program. We co-curate sort of aspects of where they want to focus, and then we sort of bring in the learning on the app, and we couple it with leaderboard and points and dial-in sessions. We have virtual, we have face-to-face, depending on what our clients want. And really importantly, it's that in my hand, highly accessible, but our completion rates sit 60% or higher just in a self-paced experience. And then as soon as we wrap our programs around it, we're sort of seeing completion rates in the 90s. And really importantly, the NPS that's coming back both from our clients and our participants is sort of upward of 9 out of 10 or above. And so we're pretty humbled by that and excited by it as well, because that's why we're in the market doing what we do. We do wrap around reporting. We know that insight is so important, not only for our clients in terms of the cohort that we work with, but also for the individuals themselves. So that they can access reports around how they're going, the strides that they're making. We've built reflection onto the platform. So consider it like a digital diary, where participants will add reflections on their learning experience embedded with when they are learning, but also very much, out of the session as well. As they're starting to reflect on things and things, they're applying these skills, we encourage them to use the app to add in reflections, and then it becomes like a curated digital diary. We know that people reflect, have higher mindfulness, have less stress, all of those things. You guys know those stats. But the reporting and the ability to then be able to play that back both to our clients and to participants is super important. Thanks, Cara. And look, I think it's really important. It's not enough just to hear from me. We wanted to bring you a couple of, pretty humbling pieces of feedback from our participants. And, we've worked with thousands now, and, we live for this. Like, why else would you do it, right? So no one sort of sits on a 30 career trajectory and, looking pretty good in terms of what I was doing and where I was heading, and then decides to leave that to do something like this and not, want to feel what we feel in terms of the difference that we're making. We are a very impact-driven organisation. We want to really change workplaces. We want to change cultures. We want to change career trajectories for people. We want people to fall back in love with their careers and their workplaces. This is the stuff that drives us. So we get feedback like you're reading. And when we hear that from our participants, we know that we're on the right track. And, we have definitely, it's not sort of shown here, but we've definitely had comments like, the best training I've ever been on at exactly the time that I've needed it. It's kind of really helping me to be impactful, but also to think about what's ahead and strive to be better, particularly in this concept of leadership. Thanks, Cara. And with, big benefits to you, I guess. The people that go through our learning programs definitely talk about this sort of ability to deeper connect with those that they work with, the improved relationships between colleagues. So, it's feeling better to come to work and to innovate and work together. That high performance that we all strive for as well. It's a clearer journey, and I can recognize when, we're in a lower performance moment and what to do about it, importantly, not just that this is feeling pretty bad. It's actually, what can I do about it and how can we move back to high performance? Innovation, definitely a higher willingness to creatively problem solve, and also that really important failing fast. A lot of workplaces call themselves learning centres, but what we do know is that because failure is not tolerated and certainly not talked about, that people are hearing one thing, but know that actually if they put themselves out, they take risks and innovate, but then fail and then, reprimanded, etc., that, they're not going to do that. So we're starting to see that confidence build there as well. Connection to purpose, open to other people's ideas, recovery from setbacks. So we're hearing all of these things in terms of the benefits that are coming out of our programs. And just wanted to show you these are live results. These are, we benchmark, of course we do, because you can't measure what you've done. It's an exciting, high, but, you need to be able to talk about the results in the end. So we benchmark at the start and at the end of our programs. And these are some of the, the improvements that we're seeing. Sometimes we run 5-week programs, 7-week programs, 9-week programs, and you're starting to see these results, play out in sort of 5 to 7 weeks. And again, it's not 5 weeks of intense off the tools type of learning. It's within the fabric of my day-to-day. Small bite-sized moments within my working fabric, because of course that's also promoting lifelong learning and creating time and space for my own learning, for my own development, that we know so many people are not creating because they're busy, right? And so that's the ethos behind why we run our programs the way we do. But, in a short space of time, with, what some of us would consider probably minimalist intervention, or, work with participants, we're starting to see these things play out. So it's a pretty exciting thing to be a part of. But, really importantly, and I think you've picked it up throughout this session, we're very flexible with our clients. The last thing I ever wanted when I was on your side was to someone to come and say, this is what you need to run. So we've created on our side a really flexible platform, a very modular approach to things. And then we want to meet our clients where they are. We want to work with their participants in the focus areas that are really important to them. We want to co-create programs that are yours, and we are just there, powered by type of Maxme approach. So it's really important for us to spend time with our clients and to really deep dive on their focus areas, what they're trying to achieve, who are the cohort, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing I should mention that I haven't, and it's not appropriate for me to forget to do that, is our program is unique in that when we work with participants, we also engage with their managers. So for every week that we run a program, we send an email to their manager highlighting quickly, because managers are busy, but really deeply what their person is learning that week in summary format, so they feel confident that they know, and then some suggested questions, because we know, and you guys will know, unless it gets, someone's showing interest in my learning, I'm unlikely to put time and focus in it. So we want managers to really engage and to be able to create that ecosystem of learning where the participant is encouraged to make time for it. They see that their manager cares and is engaging and is confident to have a conversation with them about it. So we've created that within the sort of hybrid learning ecosystem that we create when we work with clients. Thanks, Cara. All right, well, I think I've allowed some time for Q&A, 10 minutes for Q&A. So, Cara, I don't know if there are any questions in the chat just yet, but really open to what people have on their minds.
Yeah, we've got some questions in the chat. Jane mentioned on the last slide, how did you work out the benchmark, e.g. 2.4/4? What does that mean?
Thank you. Good question, Jane. Sorry, we teach people not to use jargon, and there I was assuming knowledge. So all that means is that we ask participants to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 4. And then for cohorts, we obviously give the averages. So, for example, we ask people to sort of assess themselves on how self-aware they are, and we give them a bit more of a detail on what we mean by that. And then, they might benchmark as a cohort at 2.9 out of 4. And then when we reassess or we re-benchmark at the end of the program, they've said, actually, now we're a 3.5 out of 4. So we see a 21% improvement in the cohort across, how they've scored themselves in terms of that uplift. Hopefully that's explained it.
People are also welcome to just shout out their questions. We're all good.
Can I just add something there? Ask something further there?
Of course, Jen.
How do you work out the criteria? For example, I don't know, team strengths, benchmark 2.9 out of 4.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they've decided at the first start. But what is that measured on? What are the team strengths? So that must be broken down in detail as to what it is, and then they've added up probably a scoreboard or something. Is that right?
Exactly right, Jen. So we haven't put the exact questions here, but we ask quite detailed questions. And it is a self-assessment. Yes, for sure.
Yes. Now, the other question, just if I may.
Please, of course.
Is Lion a client of yours?
So Lion, I did some work for Lion Dairy and Drinks.
Breweries, which is to do with breweries. Yes. Are they a client of yours?
They're not a client at the moment, no, but we're certainly not so much Lion Brewery, but we are talking to the Bega. So Lion Dairy and Drinks was bought by Bega, so it's now Bega Beverages. And I've got quite a few connections in there. So we're at various stages of talking to various clients. I'm very, very lucky to have a pretty broad network of ex-colleagues. So, yeah.
I might email you.
Oh, perfect, Jane.
What-
Absolutely. I'd love that.
And what about Nika? Are they a client of yours?
Nika being the electricity membership group.
Yes,
So
National
interesting.
Electrical.
Yeah, so I only know really about Nika through my work with Empowered Women in Trades. We've done quite a bit of work with them, and I came to know Nika through that. But no, they're not a client, and in fact, their membership base is we're working with a number of membership groups. Australian Computer Society, Australian Industry Group. So we know that they've got member organisations that really do. They're smaller in size. Often they don't have good development options for their staff. Maybe a conference is kind of the best thing, or a Coursera license. So we know that there are businesses out there that need something like what we have. And I'm really proud to say that we were recently awarded the Boosting Female Founders grant, a very exciting grant to be given at federal government level, particularly around this concept of how do we create Maxme programs out of the box for small business. That's the grant was really focusing and doubling down on that. So I'm excited to see what that looks like in the next 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, okay. Well, Nika's a non-profit organisation, so it might be a bit more, I don't know. Anyway, just putting it out there.
Thanks, Jane. But please do make
you.
contact. I'd love to keep talking. I'd love to keep the conversation going, Jane.
Lovely. Okay.
So Ren, in the chat, we've got also a question from Alex. What are your learnings on what areas of development, what area or areas perhaps of development are most powerful overall in people's experience?
Second to none, the light bulbs that go off for people as soon as we do their strengths assessment with them and debrief this concept of focusing on strengths to really amplify impact versus trying to make weaknesses into strengths and pretzel yourself into something that you're not. That has been, I can sort of emphatically say that's been the biggest aha moment for people, because it's at the start, we get really excited because people are kind of letting in this new concept of what does it take to be more emotionally intelligent, and intelligent, I should say, and it starts with me. It kind of starts in the world of me, and we really help them navigate that and double down on that. And it's really exciting to see what unlocks for people straight after that. I've been a zealot of positive psychology and of strength-based performance and strength-based, work in workplaces for a long time. And to start to see this come to life is pretty exciting. That's the biggest area, bar none, where we start to see impact. But what we're also starting to really unlock for people is this area of difficult conversations. Often the rub that happens in workplaces is that I don't feel like I can say what needs to get said, psychologically safe environments to just have those difficult conversations. I'm not going to say that we double down on this concept of psychological safety, but certainly we help people to understand what it is and the upskilling that's required to sort of then feel safe enough to have those difficult conversations. And we leave people with really tangible frameworks on how to do that. So that's another area that we're starting to see people lean in with confidence, and they're reporting that that's unlocking better relationships with their peers, even with customers. They're willing to sort of have those more challenging conversations with customers, but really respectfully and in a structured way. So those are two areas that we do see quite a lot of progress and great outcomes.
Hi, Renata. Thank you. Thank you.
Please go ahead. Yes.
Presentations. Andrea here from Equity Trustees.
Hi.
Wanted to ask, how do your people engage with the platform and with the program? So I remember that slide that you're talking about. There's the app, of course, where they can do that self-driven learning. Then there was some workshops and things. I mean, you obviously run a hybrid approach where there's an opportunity for people to get together in a room. Is that right?
Or virtually. So we run both, depending on our clients. So we have multiple clients that have either across Australia footprints or global footprints. And so we run virtual programs for them. Obviously, we cater to time zones, all of those things. So that is an offer. But if our clients want us to come into the classroom and mix it up, some virtual, some face-to-face, multi-touch point, then we do that as well. And of course, those clients that we are coming into their space and running these programs, the people are feeling a deeper sense of connection. Like we still do a bit of learning and a lot of activity, even virtually. And we've got a great cadence around that now, and we feel like we found the secret sauce. But of course, that sort of creating of community in the room, especially when people are sort of trying to find their way back to what that feels like for them. A lot of the organisations we're working with are reporting that people are happier to come into work to sort of learn together, to have that, community growing. And it's actually helping them to bed in some of those cultural changes that they want post-COVID. So that's really helping some of our customers, our clients. They're using it in that way.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Thanks for the question. Melissa?
Hi, Ren. Great session. Thank you very much.
you.
Melissa Lyon from Hive Legal. Really keen to know, we're a smaller organisation, so whether or not there's the opportunity to have individual programs talking about the strengths side of it and that type of thing, and to pick and choose around, say, the group that we wanted to develop, so that we can curate on an individual basis the development that we can do. Is that possible?
Look, so I think you're asking, do we run individual programs? In other words, do we work with individuals and coach them and run them through? We don't, nothing is impossible. That's not our standard approach. Because we find that people actually love to learn in groups. And so what we're seeing is, of course, people are learning from each other, that coaching. We run some creative problem solving is a really great example. We run people through human-centered design, but very practically, how to apply it day to day. And actually what people are saying is that the ones that are more experienced in that aspect, or those skills, are actually mentoring others even within the groups that they're working. So they're doubling down on their own learning. And what they're also saying, which is really exciting, is they finally understand what we do and the language and the framework that we use. So we are finding those, golden moments in group learning. So that's why we've stuck with that being our core way of working. But we always work with clients around their individual needs. And if there are, individual participants that need, us to put our arms around them, we will absolutely work with our clients around that too.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks for the question. Any other questions in the chat or from anyone, Tara?
No, it's looking pretty quiet as well.
Excellent. Well, look, we didn't want to. Please, of course. No, please go ahead.
Just wondering, is there some, after a person doing the course, do they get some sort of certification to say that they've done that course? And
yeah, is that you, Jane? I can't see. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry. No.
I could hear the voice, but see, I'm good with voice recognition.
Very good. Yeah, well, I've still got a Kiwi tang. But anyway.
Nice. Thank you. Yeah. But yes, they do. We offer a completion certificate. So every single one of our skill focus areas has 5 levels, and you get a completion certificate at the end of the level. But because when we work with our clients, we often take our participants through a cross section of the skill quest and some mini quests. So we have a completion certificate for those programs that we run with the client. We come up with a name of what they want to call it. They are shareable badges or certificates, whatever you want to call them. They're not micro-credentials, so I'm not going to, we are working towards micro-credentialing with the university. We're on that path, but at the moment we offer badges, completion badges, but they're shareable as well with others and on LinkedIn, etc.
So it's not a recognised Australian qualifications in their framework or something? No,
it's not. But one thing I will say is I've done quite a bit of work, or Maxme's done work at the government level. So the Jobs and Skills Councils, so Digital Skills Organisation, which has now become the Future Skills Organisation, we're their human skill partner. And so we've actually participated in rewriting some of the national curriculum where we mapped to aspects of all of the frameworks. We actually, because there's about 3 or 4 frameworks, we mapped back to that, and they then mapped the Maxme programs to that when we ran pilots. So I certainly can say to you that we've done the thinking and the mapping, but what we haven't done is taken it to the extent of the then going through and getting the micro-credentialing, because that's a process in itself and kind of not where we're at right now. But as I said to you, we're on that journey.
Okay, no, that's good. Just checking.
No,
Thank you.
So Asqua, Sophia, they were all in our thinking as we mapped at that sort of national curriculum level. Yeah.
Right, lovely. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, I should say we promised 45 minutes. I know people are very busy. So if you, want to get in contact, there's the QR code for you. Please contact us. We'd love to keep the conversation going. We will follow up with an email and the deck for those that would like it, and a bit of a special offer. I won't give away too much, but please look out for the email from us. And thank you for those that joined. It's been a real pleasure. As you can tell, I can talk about this day in, day out, 24/7. So thank you for joining, and hopefully that's given you a sense of what we do. And we look forward to keeping the conversation going. So thank you very much. And for anyone who does want to stay behind and ask a question, please do. We'll be online for another 10 or so minutes.
Thank you.
Also, just thank you so much to Aidan. He's throwing in his recommendation, so you're welcome to reach out to him, as he was involved in a 5-day course last year as part of our Maxme program. So if you want to chat to someone who's been part of it all, he's there to field your questions.
100%. Just reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Thanks, Aidan. You're looking great, mate. Look at you.
Oh, thank you. I need a haircut, but great to see you both.
Great to see you. Great to see you. Look, great to see you landing so well at REA. Hope you're having a great time there.
I'm having a great time. Yeah. I'm a little tired. It's pretty full on.
It is very full on. You know that I worked there for a while.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.